greatest day approaches, who's for the Twin Towers of Wembley? The venue of legends again awaits the Rugby League, and Leeds went through to the second round in Rambo style last week, while the cup holders Wigan looked determined to hold on to their crown when they demolished championship contenders Castleford in midweek. Yes, the game's greatest prize is again up for grabs. April the 27th is a red-letter day on the calendar, and today we see two more Wembley hopefuls in the first round of the Silk Cut Challenge Cup. Sheffield Eagles is the game's newest club, who've never had a whiff of Wembley, but Featherstone will last there in 1983 when they lifted that famous old trophy. So something's got to give today as our cameras pay a first visit to the multi-million-pound Don Valley Stadium in Sheffield, which has the red carpet out for the B-Sky B Rugby League programme and our viewers today. Well, hello there. Yes, it's great to be here at the best appointed ground in Rugby League for a match, of course, that sees two more sides on the road to Wembley. Now, this game really should have been played this time last week until the Siberian weather took its toll, and so the Eagles of Sheffield come face to face with the Rovers of Featherstone. Now, this season for Sheffield, well, it's been a season where they have tried to stave off relegation. They're still in deep trouble. Featherstone, though, as far as they're concerned, they're harbouring hopes of a place in the top four come the end of the season. Let's now take an assessment of the two sides' current form by taking in this report from Peter Hutton.
Featherstone's not much more than a pit village, and the club have been forced to make the most of resources which will always be limited by population. While Sheffield aren't short of population, a big city club but only 6 years old, their lack of traditional support saw them bracketed with Featherstone as relegation candidates last season. And the two sides were proved to be of a similar standing, Sheffield winning at Featherstone in September, but Rovers preventing the double in January in a game played on one of Sheffield's 7 temporary homes. But both sides claimed some notable wins and stayed up, if only just. Featherstone by a point, Sheffield by points difference. The Eagles had looked in danger, but showed the resolve to survive. Despite last season's successes, this year Sheffield are again in relegation contention. Defeat by Leeds, one of 3 losses in 9 games at the new Don Valley Stadium. Only Rochdale have conceded more points at home, and Sheffield's problems haven't just been on the pitch, they've also had to cope with the teething difficulties of a new stadium. Sheffield maintain, though, the lights haven't yet gone out on their hopes of First Division survival. Sheffield are currently 13th, next to bottom in the First Division, a spot they've occupied for 3 months, whilst Featherstone are 5th after some tremendous victories over the wealthier clubs. At Headingley in November, Leeds were expected to complete an easy victory. Phil Ford's try gave them a lead late in the second half, but Featherstone typically refused to surrender. And in the very last minute, their battling spirit earned a try in the corner for Alan Banks. Teenager Martin Pearson added a conversion to seal a tremendous 18-16 victory. And the remarkable Featherstone abilities were shown once again in the victory over league leaders Hull, with the hero of Headingley, the teenager Martin Pearson, again showing his nerve as he galloped in for a try that outpaced the defence, and at that time it seemed almost impregnable. Pearson's kickings added a rather useful weapon to Featherstone's armoury as well. And the passionate support was able to celebrate yet another famous victory thanks to a late try, again in the corner, this time to winger Ikram Butt. A 14-6 victory sealed by the almost inevitable Pearson touchline conversion. But the recent form of both sides has been impressive. Sheffield's home win over Hull signalling their change in fortunes after losing their previous 9 games. Whilst Featherstone have risen from 10th to 5th since Christmas, 8 wins in their last 11 games, contrasting with just 1 win in their first 6 of the season.
So it's really a big game for the two sides today. No bigger prize than a place at Wembley, of course, on Challenge Cup final day. And as a pointer to the real recent forms and who might actually go forward to the second round, we need look back no further than 2 weeks ago, when the two sides, Sheffield and Featherstone, met right here at the Don Valley Stadium. And Sheffield Eagles are in red.
The two sides reinforced the reputation for close games. Sheffield starting brightly, Sam Panapa opening the scoring after exchanging passes with Darryl Powell. But 9 minutes later, Brendan Tooter's juggling wrong-footed Sheffield. Paul Newlove brought Featherstone level. Sheffield provided the foundation of Great Britain's recent under-21 squad, and one of those instrumental in the win in France, Sonny Nicol, offered further proof of his strong-running forward potential. Mark Aston was another on the trip to France. His consistent kicking has set Sheffield scoring records. But Featherstone looked to have unearthed a record breaker of their own. Paul Newlove feeding Owen Simpson for his 8th try in 8 games since joining from Keighley. The game continued to swing. Panapa linking with Darryl Powell as Sheffield extended their lead. But Featherstone kept on pressing. Terry Manning's break ably supported by Derek Fox, though it was still 18-16 to Sheffield at half-time. Into the second half, an inspired kick from Fox, Trevor Clark the scorer, and Featherstone finally in front. But the attack was disrupted as Paul Newlove's charge from centre ended in only injury. The knock to the shoulder means 6 weeks out of the game for the young international, but it had appeared worse as he was taken from the pitch. Rovers still found inspiration, though, in the shape of the kicking of Derek Fox. Ian Smales beating the veteran Mumby to the pickup to clinch Featherstone's 5th win in 7 away games.
Not too much then to choose between the two sides that day. Newlove is still out, he's dislocated his elbow. Featherstone have also got problems with Chris Bibb, who's out injured, and so too are the big forwards Burton and Leo Casey. Now joining me as always is the Great Britain international, former Great Britain international, Mike Stevenson. And Mike, with 4 players like that out, surely Featherstone up against it a bit today?
They certainly will find it very tough because Sheffield will be very buoyant after defeating Hull in the preliminary round. And I think that Featherstone are going to have to look to their halfback combination of Smales and Fox again to pull out the skills. It was Fox that defeated the Eagles a fortnight ago.
It's been a really tight match, though, between the two sides every time they've met this season so far.
Yes, they're very, very strong in the forwards, and I suspect that Sheffield, because Featherstone having a few problems in the pack, I think that they'll play a lot of the game right down the middle.
Well, of course, this is a match that not too many people would have predicted would have taken place. When the draw for the competition was made before Christmas, the Sheffield Eagles were paired at home here to the league leaders Hull. And on a cold night in January, the Eagles swooped for a famous victory. Here we have pictures of that match, and this is the movement leading up to Peter Lewis's first try for the Eagles. Mike, it really does give you some indication that Sheffield prepared to throw the ball about whenever they get near the line.
Well, look, they had nothing to lose. They kept the ball alive, and Hull, unusually, kept back from them. It was a game that they didn't seem to get their defensive pattern correct, and of course Sheffield took full advantage of it.
And the match-clinching try coming up, the celebrations going on for a long, long time. They knew how important this was for them. 19-6 the final score. Here's the clincher. Panapa, the centre from New Zealand, very much involved. And then he feeds the ball out eventually, and it reaches Des Meyer, who goes in for a try in his debut.
Well, it was a good play, but it was a good backup play as well. But once again, you have to point the finger at Hull's problem that day. We saw just in that clip that they missed a lot of tackles. They allowed that forward to go far too much forward, and then they backed him up. The gap was there, and the game was lost.
Great opportunity then for these two sides. Remember, in the second round draw, which was made on Thursday, the winners of this one have a home tie against second division Salford in the next round. So the quarter-finals really are beckoning for these two. Now at half-time we'll be taking you back 24 hours to the international between Great Britain and France, and we'll be talking to the world's top referee, Greg McCallum, who's over here from Australia. Greg, it's great to have you with us on the gantry. We'll be hearing from you during the course of the game. Good game yesterday, good day?
Very enjoyable, Eddie. Test football is the ultimate thing in rugby league, and I'm sure that the game here today is going to warm the hearts of everyone. Looking forward to it greatly.
Well, we're looking forward to having you with us, and as I say, we'll be talking with Greg throughout the game and more especially at half-time. Now then, the ground staff here at the Don Valley Stadium really have worked overtime once again to clear the existing snow from the ground and give us a pitch on which this game can be played. Let's check on the conditions underfoot now by going sideline and talking again to Peter Hutton.
Well, the conditions down here pretty impressive. If you look at the ground, it's fairly firm, but it's not giving too much ground. They had a fair amount of snow on it early on, but at the moment it looks fine. They're very proud of this new stadium here, though. There are a few distinctive features about it, though. One of them, the very tight in-goal area, and that tight in-goal area is clearly going to cause a few problems for the kickers, particularly like Derek Fox. Can they find their way into that area? But at the same time, there's plenty of experience in both sides to be able to cope with those sort of new conditions. So a great stadium here, good conditions, and some fine players down here. The situation down here, the fact that the snow has been on it, might just make it a little worse later on. It might just give a little more later on, but at the same time we've got a good crowd here, we've got a good atmosphere here, and even though it's a big stadium, the crowd do pick together and also make the situation here fairly emotional, fairly tight, and increase the rivalry between these two sides, Sheffield and Featherstone, who've shared some good games in recent weeks.
And the sun is out and shining, and that means we've got a little bit of warmth here today. Keith Mumby is the Sheffield Eagles fullback, the veteran who perhaps is facing his last chance of a trip to Wembley. David Nelson is on the wing. Martin Afire says he's one of the best he's ever faced. In the centres, back off international duty yesterday with Great Britain, is Darryl Powell, the Eagles captain. And the New Zealander Sam Panapa is wearing 4. Mark Gamson plays his 74th consecutive appearance, a record for the club today. David Maiko is the standoff half. He's just 18, former Great Britain under-21 international. Mark Aston is the scrum half, played for 60 seconds in Perpignan 3 weeks ago. Man with 6 Australian international caps to his credit, Peter Tunks is the prop forward at 8. And Mick Cook is the hooker, wearing 9. Much travelled Tim Wilby comes back into the side, he's in 10. And Paul Broadbent has displaced a former test forward, Hugh Waddell. He's in the second row, alongside Sonny Nicol, who was number 12. And Anthony Farrell completes the Sheffield Eagles lineup, the club's record signing, and the coach is Gary Hetherington. It's a wonderfully appointed stadium. Everybody inside the Don Valley today will be sitting down, and this surely is the way for the future. Featherstone Rovers then line up with Tim Sharp at full-back. He plays for the injured Chris Bibb. Martin Pearson kicked 8 goals against Sheffield in September and 3 more 2 weeks ago. He was 2. Terry Manning, 4 tries in his last 5 matches. He's in 3. Ikram Butt, former Leeds player, he was 4. And Owen Simpson, here's a man on standby for service in the Gulf. He used to play Army Rugby Union, and he was 5. Ian Smales is the standoff half, a 1990 tourist to Papua New Guinea and New Zealand, and the captain is alongside him, the scrum half, Derek Fox. Did so much to destroy Sheffield Eagles here a couple of weeks ago. The old campaigner at 41, he's the oldest man in the game, Jeff Gratian, the prop forward, in 8. Mark Gibbon is the hooker, he wears 9, and Gary Rose is the other prop forward, wearing 10. Brendan Tudor is in the second row, wearing number 11, New Zealand international, and Clary Eaty, cousin of a New Zealand scrum half, Brett, who's of course at Bradford Northern, he wears 12, and Trevor Clark, the Maori, he completes the Featherstone Rovers lineup, and their coach is Peter Fox. Featherstone out. It's an important match for them. A lot of people in rugby league fancy this team as the dark horses on the road to Wembley this year. And Sheffield Eagles, in their now familiar red and white, never ever been to the quarter-finals. What a great chance for them today. With the bandaged knees just going out of your picture, that was Keith Mumby. In the centre of your picture there alongside Mumby is Darryl Powell, back off international duty. And there's Sam Panapa, the New Zealand Test star. Jeff Gratian, 41 years old. He broke his leg at 39 with Bradford. He came back remarkably. He's never been to Wembley in 20 years of the game. He's lost 5 semi-finals. Peter Tunks, you might notice, is the captain for the day. He leads Sheffield Eagles, and there's the match referee who last year had control of the Challenge Cup final at Wembley itself, John Holdsworth, Britain's top official, and he comes from Kippax. So always something a little special when the sniff of Wembley gets in the air. And it's going to be Mark Aston of Sheffield Eagles who's going to get this first round tie underway. From the Don Valley Stadium then, Sheffield against Featherstone, exclusive here on the Sports Channel. And with Salford awaiting the winners and a home tie in the second round, Mike Stevenson, a big match in prospect.
Certainly is, and it'll be both sides looking towards their forwards. It'll be a tight encounter, and I think it might be a bit fiery in the first 15 minutes.
The pitch is in remarkable condition considering all the snow that was on it last week. It's a sandy surface, and so we walked across it before. It really does take a stub. Here's Peter Tunks, captain for the day of Sheffield Eagles, the big number 8. That's Wilby. Mick Cook is the man at dummy half. Now Aston. That's not a bad little ball. Nicol, who scored against Featherstone here a couple of weeks ago, he's dropped the ball though on this occasion, and Featherstone can bring the ball out. And that's their fullback Tim Sharp. And his opposite number, Keith Mumby, showing a bit too much enthusiasm, holding the man down in the tackle.
Yes, no problem about this. Referee quick to spot it. There you can see Mumby giving him no chance to get up and play the ball.
So Rovers restart. That's Gary Rose. Good run, good driving run from Clary Eatey. Good tackling from Sonny Nicol to bring him down. Derek Fox, Gratian, the grand old man of the game. This is Ian Smales. Broadbent. Gary Rose rather electing to hold on. Let's have an early word as well then from Greg McCallum, who's up here on the gantry as you saw. Greg, early impressions?
Well, very important in these games, Eddie, that the referee keeps a consistent 5, which he's doing, and also clean play the balls. If we can get that established early in the game, I'm certain we'll see a fast open game on what is a remarkably good conditioned pitch.
Nice driving run from David Maiko. This now is Darryl Powell, showed up well in the Great Britain international jersey yesterday. Mick Cook is his dummy half. And that's Tim Wilby using his height, his weight and his strength. Aston, Nicol, that was a good supporting run, and this is a great drive from Nicol. He's found Panapa, Powell is there, and Powell has got support on this near side. That's a great try from David Nelson. First blood to Sheffield Eagles. It was a drive down the middle, and then neat hands as they got in the Featherstone quarter that produced Nelson's 6th try of the season.
Beautiful play, watch the switch inside. We've just seen the end of this with the Nelson going in for a beautiful try. Craig, that really was enterprising football. They kept it alive. Aston.
Certainly the big number 12 there made the break. Good support play by centre Panapa, and Darryl Powell showing his class as he showed yesterday in the test match. Out to the winger Nelson. That's good play. A great start for Sheffield Eagles.
So Nelson's 6th try of the season. No wonder Martin Afire says he's one of the best that he's ever faced. And Nelson has got the Eagles off to a perfect start. So Aston with this conversion attempt. It's straight between the posts. Goal number 29 of the season for Mark Aston. And Sheffield Eagles are off to a flyer here. just as they were 2 weeks ago, Mike, in the league fixture.
And it was the same man, Sonny Nicol. That day he raced 80 metres to put Sheffield into the lead then. And that really was a good move by the little halfback Aston, the switch inside for the strong running Nicol.
And here he is again, Sonny Nicol. Bought from Hunslet for £20,000 in 1989, the number 12 for Sheffield Eagles. But Featherstone have been pulled back for the illegal holding down of Nicol and then penalised another 10 metres. And the man who has been penalised is Brendan Tutor, the New Zealander.
Well, that was stupid play by the Kiwi then. Right in front of the referee. He was obviously put his elbow into the player's face.
Here come the Eagles again then. That's Paul Broadbent. There's been nothing to choose between these two sides in the two league meetings. Featherstone Rovers have won them both this season. They have a double against the Eagles. Talking to Gary Hetherington this week, he said he really fancied his chances today. And with play like this, no wonder. This is another great driving run. That's Anthony Farrell, the club's record signing at £50,000. The Eagles are a metre short. Aston, ball's bounced off the chest though, and Fox has swept up for Featherstone Rovers.
Wasted opportunity there, Sheffield. They're finding the gaps in this Featherstone's defence. But that really was throwing away 4 points.
And now, of course, the Eagles will want to keep the Rovers penned back in that particular section of the field. Gratian.
This Featherstone defence will have to smarten its ideas up.
Fox's little kick over the top. That worked wonders for them last week. And that was a good kick ahead by Manning. And the try scorer Nelson collected it, albeit at the second attempt. And here comes Maiko. But he's wrapped up by Tutor. Maiko still going. It's a great start to what was always likely to be an intriguing clash. Amazing, Mike, isn't it, when clubs in this country get a sniff of Wembley in the air, they really do turn the throttle up.
They certainly do, and Sheffield have worked. They've come out with all their guns blazing. And Featherstone is shell-shocked at the moment.
Tunks for the Eagles. Grand finalist, of course, with Canterbury Bankstown. Last tackle, drop goal attempt, he's got it. Darryl Powell with a drop goal stretches the lead.
Well, here we see the experience of the halfback Mark Aston. Or was it Powell? Yes, it was Powell. It was good thinking there. And they come away with at least 1 point, and that could prove to be most important late in the game.
A man who's making drop goals in this Challenge Cup competition a speciality. He dropped one in the Challenge Cup tie against Hull in the preliminary round. And that day, of course, Eagles won against all the odds, 19 points to 6, to set up this first round tie.
That really was smart thinking, and it just shows you the experience of the man, an established player now in the Great Britain ranks. And that's just the start that they needed.
7 points to 0 then. Sheffield Eagles are ahead. And there's one for Owen Simpson to collect. A rich vein of scoring form, Owen Simpson. A try in each of his last 6 matches. Smales, good tackling though by Mumby. They've got David Maiko playing at full back, and they've moved Mumby upfield. He had a nightmare, did Keith Mumby, in the league fixture a fortnight ago. Was past fit only just before the match, but Maiko at number 6 has the responsibility of the full back today.
Well, obviously Gary Hetherington feels that Maiko has a lot more speed. Mumby is in his latter days, a little bit older, hasn't got that speed that he had a few years ago.
What a fairy tale it would be if Mumby or the fellow in possession now, Jeff Gratian, did get to Wembley this season so late in their careers. particularly Grayson. He's never ever been there before. There's Maiko. Almost through. There's Gamson, the winger, cutting in. And that's Mick Cook, the hooker. David Maiko, number 6, and playing at full-back for that fellow in possession there, Keith Mumby. No stranger to the full-back berth. He played under 21s at full-back. Here's Nicol again. Having a big game again, Sonny Nicol. Just as he did in the league fixture 2 weeks ago. Powell with a kick ahead, well read by Derek Fox. Neatly collected.
He had to be a man there, Fox. That saved the day. But Sheffield really are stretching this Featherstone defence. They're using the switch, and they're using the big Sonny Nicol out wide, and they can't handle him.
Featherstone then have rarely been inside the Eagles' half of the field in the opening minutes of this cup tie. Gratian finds Fox. Smales, there's a neat piece of play from Fox to find Smales steaming up on the left-hand side. Here's Fox again. Now Gratian. And Tutor. That's it from Butt. Still going, Butt. Good play. Tutor in support. And the referee has seen a punch being swung there in the tackle. It's a penalty to Featherstone Rovers.
Well, you see here, Tutor with the ball, and that was Powell. It was only a short one. Referees aren't blind.
We have a referee alongside us, of course, Greg McCallum. No arguments with that decision, Greg?
No, I think in that situation there, Brendan Tudor, he served a little bit out there, he got a little bit back, but to the referee's credit, he saw it and took immediate action. That'll keep the teams apart, and that'll give us a good game.
So a penalty then to Featherstone, and Martin Pearson, with that enviable goal-kicking record against the Eagles, 8 against them in September, 3 more here a fortnight ago, has the chance to open his account today. He struck it well enough, but it's just faded wide of the posts. And so a chance for the Eagles to break back. Here's Nicol, the danger man. Darryl Powell. Mumby. Now Nelson. Well brought down by Clary Eaty. Wilby stepping through the challenges. Farrell, mistake, but it went behind him, so referee rightly says play on. This is Broadbent. Farrell on his own from dummy half. That's the last tackle. Powell's kick ahead. Tim Sharp collects. Look at the way the Eagles had moved up to clobber the full-back as he collected it.
Certainly was, but good play by the Featherstone full-back Sharp. He read that he was going to chip over.
Well, let's go down to the touchline and Peter Hutton.
2 observations from down here, Ed. The first one about that drop goal, the Darryl Powell drop goal. Clearly they're saying down there that they've got to come back with something every time they go into the 25. Steve Ferris has been up off the bench screaming that away to the Sheffield players. After 2 very tight games with Featherstone, they're determined to make every point count. And from the Featherstone side, Gary Rose at the number 10 has got a bit of a right thumb injury, and the Featherstone bench is keeping a watching brief on that one.
Simpson in possession, tackled by Nelson. Here's Manning. Now Fox. That kicking game of his could be important in this match today. Well collected though by Maiko. Good tackling from Owen Simpson.
Well, that's also the reason why Maiko is being put into the full-back position, because Mumby was caught out a couple of times with the redirected kick from Fox in the second half, and obviously they don't want to see a repeat of that.
The Eagles then ahead 7 points to 0. the team that entered the league in 1984. They've never reached the quarter-finals of this competition. Is this their year to at least get that far? Tunks will be. Aston. Featherstone's supporters raged that was forward. Paul Broadbent clinging on. Aston again. Good kick over the top this time. Manning in possession for Rovers, and now back to Fox. Simpson. Tackling by Farrell. Jeff Gratian. Good play, Derek Fox. This is nice stuff. Terry Manning. Good support from Gibbon. This is Tim Sharp, the full-back who's joined the line. Featherstone beginning to step the pace up. Manning again. Pearson on that far side. Fox, and that's E.T. and Fox again. Good play. Gary Rose in possession, now Manning. Ikram Butt takes over. You can feel the tempo has been increased even up here.
Featherstone are keeping this ball alive, but full credit to the Sheffield side. They're moving up very quickly in defence.
Derek Fox. Well, all he found then was the head of Terry Manning. And Sonny Nicholas swept up for Sheffield Eagles. A lot of keen local rivalry between these two sides. Sheffield Eagles train, would you believe, at the Featherstone Sports Centre. Many of their players come from the Featherstone and Castleford area. So there really is intense rivalry between the two sides. An offside against Rovers at the play of the ball.
Well, he may be 41, Jeff Gratian, but I don't think he would admit to the fact that he could run that fast. You can see him just appear to the right-hand side of the referee, and that's the reason why.
You can expect lots of enthusiasm from that particular gentleman today. Sonny Nicholl now. The tackling from two to that was up a bit high, but it was effective. This now is Broadbent. Sheffield again in the danger area in the Rovers quarter. Peter Tunks. Aston. Good play. Powell in support. Ball's dropped. And Featherstone have it back courtesy of Gary Rose.
Well, another chance wasted there by Sheffield. And they're caught offside.
Ironic cheers from the crowd on the far side who've made the journey here from Featherstone. Offside against Sheffield Eagles. Referee John Holdsworth, Greg McCallum, is under just a touch of pressure.
It certainly is. Featherstone are getting their act together now and starting to put some pressure onto Sheffield. It's going to be a test of courage, character of the Sheffield team to see if they can weather this storm. Things like answering back to the referee there will only antagonise him a little bit, and they'd be best suited to keep their mouths closed when the decisions are made.
Gratian clinging on for Featherstone Rovers. Ian Proctor, our statistician up here, has just pointed out we've been playing 18 minutes now and we still haven't had a scrum. The pace of this match so far is unrelenting. Fox. That was the full-back. Sharp, who found E.T., and E.T. has found Pearson. Pearson using his strength to get into the Eagles' quarter. Fox again, he'll be involved in everything today. Gratian, Fox once more. Still going Fox, good ball. E.T., but unloads, now Tutup will find Owen Simpson out wide here. Can Simpson get round again? That's good tackling from Darryl Powell. The last one. Little kick over through the Eagles defence, but well read on that occasion by Paul Broadbent.
Well, that's the best passage of play by Featherstone. They've realised that there's no way through down the middle. They have to swing the ball out wide. That's where their rewards will come.
And a kick simply to relieve the pressure. It might find touch. It does. And that really has relieved pressure. Good kick ahead by Mark Aston.
Certainly was. He did the right thing. He wanted it to stay in play as long as he could. There's no point in playing in your own quarter.
They call him Tubby. Why, I don't know, looking at him. He was the travelling reserve for Great Britain yesterday, Mark Aston. Confirmation of Aston's nickname as Rovers once again break through with Manning. And Sheffield Eagles really are having to work overtime to keep them out here. Clary Eaty. Not much to choose as far as the workload's concerned between these two sides. Fox. Ikram Butt, one of the few Pakistani players, was the dummy half. That was a crunching tackle by Tim Wilby on Brendan Tutor. And Wilby's been hurt, I think. Ball spills again. Both sides, Mike, could rue the day at the end of this match that they've dropped so much ball.
Well, the pressure, and there again we see, we talk about this pressure, but it really has been breathtaking speed. Both sides are into it. It wasn't the best of passes. Broadbent there.
Handling errors. The Eagles have made 4 now, and Featherstone Rovers have made 3. The Rovers have possession with Smales. It's a good driving run straight through the tackle of Aston. Couldn't get away from Powell though. Manning is the dummy half. Now Fox. Long pass. That's the fullback. Sharp. This is Ikram Butt. Here they come again with Eaty. Desperate defence from Sheffield. Fox again. I told you he'd be involved in everything, and so it's proving to be. Such an important cog in the Featherstone Rovers wheel, Derek Fox. It's Gary Rose. Last tackle. And Rovers 12 metres short of the line. Fox again. Good ball out to that far side. Pearson. Manning. Keeping it going as long as they possibly can. And the Eagles have defended stoutly, and Peter Tunks has come up with the ball.
Well, Featherstone really threw everything at them then. They're keeping this ball alive. But full credit to Sheffield. Their defence, where it was coming from, they really did pick themselves up in the last few seconds.
The ball has been laid back. Another kick ahead to simply relieve the pressure. Taking an unkind bounce. And the Eagles have moved up and they've pinned the fullback Tim Sharp. Simpson. Good tackling, Powell. Couldn't believe the number 3 for Sheffield there played the full 80 minutes for Great Britain yesterday. Grayson's dropped it. Referee's whistle's gone. Knock on.
Well, no doubt about it, the referee had blown it. Jeff Grayson, sorry, it's not Grayson at all, it's Eaty. That really was a bad mistake.
Mumby, and he's found Maiko. Powell to Cook. Mumby the dummy half. This is Broadbent. Tunks first receiver. Aston. Again to Anthony Farrell. Powell's got nowhere to go. Perhaps they have now. Aston, Farrell on his own, and Farrell is over! Well, what a start for the Eagles here. 24 minutes gone, that's their second try, and Anthony Farrell, the club's record signing, £55,000 from Huddersfield, has repaid a slice of that fee.
Well, this came out of nothing. Powell didn't know what was happening. The forwards called the wrong move. It went to Aston, and they just stood and watched him. Look at that awful defence by Featherstone. The support was there on the inside, and the strength of the lock forward, Farrell, is enough to take him over.
I've been impressed with the work of Aston in this game. He's obviously a class player. The way that he made something out of nothing there, that was tremendous. The step there, picked up the supporting player, and over he went. I've been impressed with the back rowers of Sheffield Eagles, and they're in a great position now.
Anthony Farrell's first try of the season, right in front of the posts. And the kick from Aston, there it was just a couple of seconds ago, has stretched that Eagles lead. They really do have a bit of daylight now between them. Sheffield Eagles 13, Featherstone Rovers 0. A great start.
Certainly a great start for the Sheffield boys, but I'm sure that Peter Fox will have plenty to say to the Featherstone guys. You could have thrown a blanket over the defensive system there. That really was poor play.
Well, they built up a handsome lead in the league fixture in the first half here a couple of weeks ago. They eventually lost it. Can the Eagles this time cling on to the advantage that they've built for themselves? We shall see. Because Featherstone are in a rich vein of form. They've won 6 of the last 8 matches, and their away form's even better. 5 wins from the last 6 matches away from Post Office Road. That's the size of the task the Eagles have on their plate today. Last tackle. Mumby, good kick ahead. Not a bad kick either. Pearson picks up. There's a lot of enthusiasm being shown out there though, Mike, by both sides.
There certainly is, but it's Sheffield that's showing a lot more common sense. They're keeping hold of this possession, they're not wasting it, and their kicking game is excellent. They're forcing Featherstone back on every opportunity.
Gary Rose for Featherstone as we go downstairs and pick up news of a possible substitution from Peter Hutton.
A sub coming on in a few moments is Hugh Waddell, number 15 for Sheffield, who sat on the bench at the moment. He's going to come on for the hooker, number 9, Mick Cook. It's just a case of using the Sheffield forwards in rotation, giving them all a go and giving Mick Cook a quick breather. Waddell coming on, who works down here at Sheffield now as a lottery operator for the club. He'll also on the pitch in a few minutes' time.
Former Great Britain international then, about to come on. Meanwhile, Eagles in possession again. That's David Maiko. Farrell is the acting half-back, and that's Broadbent. The forwards of Eagles really are running fast and powerfully and strong today. Will be. Stopped right on the halfway line. You hear the Sheffield Eagles players saying chase, 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 and that's exactly what they've done. And he's delighted. Is Mark Aston, no wonder.
Yes, once again, pinpoint accuracy. And while ever Sheffield can keep this up, keep forcing Featherstone into their own quarter. Featherstone just a little bit 6s and 7s at the moment. They're not respecting that possession.
And it's Waddell who comes on, and Peter Tunks who takes a breather. Captain for the day, Peter Tunks, the Australian, into the grand final. Skipper of Canterbury. Peter Tunks in your picture there, and they won the grand final in 1987. I bet he'd love to be at Wembley to make it the marvellous double. Grand final and a Challenge Cup final. Not too many players from the Southern Hemisphere can boast that. (13 points to 0. The Eagles are ahead, but Martin Pearson has the ball for Rovers. got to get round Maiko. He can't do so. That's a good tackle. But the referee has given Rovers a penalty for an incident on Pearson off the ball.
Well, here you see in the replay, the wing is well and truly in the clear. Maiko comes across and takes him, and this is the reason why they've switched him. Now, in the back play, someone has been taken out. Greg, did you see that?
Yes, a Featherstone player taken out in back play. Good refereeing by referee Holdsworth to pick that up, because one of the blights of the game in Sydney are the number of players that are held back in an attacking position. So good work to the referee there.
Pearson, the man receiving treatment for that crunching tackle by Maiko. That wasn't the illegal challenge, though. Something happened behind the play, and so Featherstone Rovers have a penalty right on the Sheffield Eagles 22. They're not taking a shot at goal. They've decided to run it. It was right out, far out on the touchline. And now, by the looks of things, there's a work move coming off here. Fox. Well, for the time being, the Eagles haven't taken the dummy. Half an hour gone. Sheffield Eagles 13, Featherstone Rovers 0. Rovers, though, within 12 metres of the Eagles' line. This is Tuta. Big favourite of Post Office Road, the New Zealander. So is this fellow, E.T. And Featherstone really are examining the defence here. This is Smales, and now the ball is with Pearson, but not Pearson, it's the referee's whistle has sounded. That's Terry Manning.
Well, it was obviously a shepherd here. There you see Manning running round. Smales was the man that he used as the obstruction. There's no doubt about it. I think you would have given that one, Greg.
Yes, Mick, the defensive player there was certainly obstructed in making the tackle, and that, of course, what the obstruction law is about. Player not in possession of the ball cannot obstruct an opponent. A correct decision by the referee.
Peter Tunks is a spectator for the time being, and he's with Peter Hutton.
Yeah, Peter just giving me the news of another substitution for Sheffield on number 14, Des Mayer, and he's replacing number 11, Paul Broadbent, who's got quite a bad cut to his face, on the right-hand side of his face, about a quarter of an inch.
Nasty gash. Des Mayer is on. Hugh Waddle's on. There is Waddle. And there's Mark Aston, who really has run the show from scrum half. Up against one of the best in the game in Derek Fox. Mark Aston out to prove his worth today. There's Des Mayer. Scored a try in his debut against Hull to give the Eagles this fixture. Aston again with the kick ahead.
Once again, that very good kicking game, kicking it into the space, allowing his attack to get up there and force pressure on the Featherstone players.
Fox and Grayson. Offside. No. Forward pass. What was that, Greg?
Forward pass. Referee has ruled that the pass went forward. Jeff Grayson can't believe it, but certainly a correct call by the referee.
Ball didn't go in. The referee wants the forwards to separate before the ball is fed again. Now it's with Mumby. Mumby thundered to the floor by Clary Eating. Farrell, try scorer, about, 10 minutes ago. Nicol, the acting halfback. Now it's with Wilby.
It's this switching of play that Sheffield really have the Featherstone defence stretched. They really don't know what to expect. And instead of moving up very quickly, they're just hanging back. That's always dangerous.
Aston. What a bad ball to Panapa. Last tackle. I wonder if they'll bomb the full-back in. No, another attempted drop goal. Not this time. Aston with the attempt at the one-pointer, emphasising what Peter Hutton said from the touchline a few minutes ago, that every time they get in the danger zone, the Eagles will try and come back with some reward. That's good tactics, Mike.
It certainly is, and they're playing the right game plan. And Featherstone, really, they're going to have to do something very quickly to get out of this hole.
Perhaps Manning can provide it. Well, not with defence like that, but that was good play just the same. Managed to unload the ball in the tackle. Here come Rovers again then. Gratian now.
They find it very difficult to break this Sheffield defence. I mentioned earlier they've got to keep it out wide. Oh, the kick like that.
5 minutes to half-time as Tutor went for that ball. And a penalty given by John Holdsworth for the challenge on Tutor as he went for it. Greg, enlighten us.
It was just after Tudor picked the ball up there. He did well to pick it up. The thing with Brendan Tudor, whenever the game is around him, there's always something happening. Great chance now for Featherstone. They're on the attack.
Quick thinking by Tutor. Rovers on the Eagles 22 with Gary Rose.
Well, it was Tutor that brought Featherstone back into the game a fortnight ago down here.
He's doing the same now. That was a bone-crunching step. Panapa got him, so too did Nicol, but Rovers aren't finished. There's Tutor. Now Fox and Gratian. Holding the ball up well, Jeff Gratian, but referee shouts that he's held, standing up. Butt finds Manning. Manning running straight and true. So is E.T. Barry E.T. just stopped short. Takes it himself, and he's held up. We could see that. He was held up over the line. Correct decision by the referee. You could see that from here, and this will prove conclusive.
No doubt about it. He does not get the ball down. Correct decision there, Greg.
Yes, the defenders did well to keep him up there, and the referee came up with the right decision there.
The message has gone out, I think, from the Sheffield bench that half-time is a beckoning. Less than 4 minutes now. Will be. Waddle. Such a difficult character to bring down, Hughie Waddle. Mayer, oh, he did well then. Got out of trouble perfectly. He's a 22-year-old New Zealand forward, Desi Mayer. Signed just in time to beat the cup deadline, and I bet the Eagles are pleased he did, because with that try in the preliminary round against Hull, he saw them through. Derek Fox penned on his own quarter line, and Powell has got him.
Well, once again, those wonderful kicking tactics. And Featherstone will have a lot to sort out in the half-time break.
Half-time is beckoning on my watch. 2 minutes to half-time. Sheffield Eagles 13-0 ahead. And they really do not want to concede a try here, but Smales will test them all the way. That's a great run, but again Rovers have put the ball down, and Sonny Nicol has tied it up at the back for Sheffield Eagles.
Once again, this Featherstone side making that break out wide, and I'm sure that their coach Peter Fox will emphasise, there he is, he'll have plenty to say. He always has plenty to say as Peter. And I can assure you that he'll want the ball out wide. There's no point in trying to mix it with this very strong Sheffield defence in the middle.
Peter Fox, one of the wiliest campaigners, one of the best coaches in the game. I'm sure he will have spotted something. And Eagles must not think that this game is won yet, not by a long chalk. A minute to go to the half-time break. Simpson has the ball for Rovers. Fox and Grayson. Nowhere for Grayson to go though. It was a nothing pass really, but the big man had no option. They really have stopped running, and there's another mistake, and a bad mistake too at the play of the ball, a knock on.
Well, here you see the hooker here, Gibbon, turning back. The referee deemed it was a knock on. Yes, it went the way, but a knock on is given, and that's the type of thing that Featherstone can do without.
And there's another surging run from David Nelson. Sonny Nicol is the dummy half. Well, he's all on his own now, Nicol. Just maybe we'll take the tackle as we enter injury time. Will be the dummy half. Now it's with Aston. Now Waddle. Still going, you Waddle. 8 metres short of the line. Farrell, Aston. Oh, and they missed out Powell completely and gave the ball to Terry Manning.
That could have proved very costly indeed. A little bit too smart there, trying to keep that ball. He held on for it far too long.
But there's the half-time siren, and Peter Fox makes his way to the Featherstone Rovers dressing room to no doubt pinpoint the reasons why things have gone wrong here. Clary Eatey, the New Zealander, no doubt came over with the thoughts of Wembley safely in his mind. But at half-time, it's Sheffield Eagles who will enjoy their cups of tea a little better. Sheffield Eagles 13, Featherstone Rovers 0. Remember, the second round is a home tie here, either at the Don Valley Stadium or Post Office Road against second division Salford. 13-0 at half-time. Who's for that match? We'll find out after the break.